Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for the Training for Entrepreneurs session. We are from the College of Lake County up in Northern Illinois. My name is Dr. Arlene Santos George. I am the Dean of Adult Education and ESL Division, as well as the Perkins Administrator for the college. Kelly?
Hi, my name is Kelly Arce, and I am the ESL Department Chair for the College of Lake County.
Greetings, my name is Yesenia Mata. I am one of the Student Success Coordinators in the Adult Education Division. Thank you for having us.
Next slide, please. So in the next half hour, we hope that you will find useful parts or all of our presentation topics. Here's what we will cover today. First, an overview of why are we doing this? Why do we have an Entrepreneurship Bridge and ICAPS? What precipitated the development of this Bridge and ICAPS program? Next, we're going to share details about the programming, which includes the curriculum, the schedule, the plan, the outcomes, and some data. And then third, we're going to give you some really exciting news about our students and their success that they have accomplished because of this program. And then finally, next steps. There'll be a Q&A, I understand, with our colleague Dan DC from College of DuPage. Next slide. So why do we have Bridge and ICAPS in general? So I know that some of you may not necessarily be coming from adult ed world. So there's a lot of workforce development people and other core partners in this summit. So just to give you some background on adult education will be necessary. So most adult education providers are primarily funded through federal pass-through grants. In particular, the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act that was reauthorized in 2014. The state provides matching funds to complete the adult education funding every year. WIOA's main purpose for adult education is to assist adults to become literate and obtain the knowledge and skills necessary for employment and economic self-sufficiency. Adult education is also impacted by the Perkins 5 2018 reauthorization. Perkins' main purpose was to strengthen, expand, enhance, develop career pathways starting from secondary to post-secondary to the workforce. It has provisions to include both learners from the high schools and adult learners, including, of course, adult education students. In particular, it also has equity objectives so that we are mandated to provide support services for special populations, which include ethnic minority groups, the youth, low-income groups, homeless, etc. Most recently, there's the Integrated Career Pathway and Program of Study under Perkins, and I'm excited about this because adult education is an active participant in its development. It's a stakeholder in developing career and technical education programs. So therefore now, next slide, please. So therefore, ICCB now requires that adult education providers switch gears and focus on career pathways for our students. This is clearly stated in ICCB Strategic Plan for Adult Education 2018-2023. Two of its goals pertain to adult education transition to college and also credential attainment and college and career readiness. Hence, the measurement of adult education effectiveness is in terms of these goals. So what is this model that the state wants us to follow? It is called the Integrated Career Pathway Model. This is the main framework. This model spans secondary, adult education, through post-secondary, through workforce preparation. It operates under the premise that there is continuity among these phases or spectrum in its curriculum so that students are prepared even earlier in high school and also including in adult education instruction so that these students will be college and career ready so that they can find jobs in life-sustaining occupations, and that's the end goal. So for adult education, what does this mean for us? It really means developing bridge programs that make students aware of various career options, and the ICAPS program, so that when they are in college in these academic programs, they will be successful. So ICAPS is the main program for that ICCB is encouraging everybody to develop. ICAPS has certain curricular and andragogy that is very pertinent to adult education students to help them be successful. So next, I'm going to give you to Yesenia, who's going to give you some background about our ICAPS and Bridge programs.
Thank you, Dr. Santos George. So like Arlene was mentioning, we do have different career pathways, and here are the bridge and pre-bridge options that we currently have for students. So here it is divided by field of interests. And so for the business, hospitality, and information technology area, we have the administrative management technology, pre-bridge and bridge, computer information technology, pre-bridge and bridge again. And then I know that entrepreneurship is our main focus for today. For this program, we only have a bridge developed so far, but maybe in the future we can dive into maybe providing a pre-bridge as well if we have opportunities to further develop the curriculum. For the education and social sciences, we have early childhood education. For legal studies and public safety, we have criminal justice. In the area of manufacturing, engineering, and advanced technologies, we have manufacturing and forklift as well. And so next we have wellness and health sciences, which is one of our very popular bridges, is healthcare. And I will say that through the Innovative Bridge and Transition Grant, we were able to develop the curriculum for 3 of these bridges, which are entrepreneurship, criminal justice, and the forklift bridge. And so that grant really allowed us to really expand our offerings. And also we're going to touch on how it also impacted our ICAPS programs and provided opportunities to grow as well. And lastly, I do want to highlight a new bridge that we are offering this semester for students, which is the Career ESL Bridge. So this is for students who are in high intermediate and ESL advanced. So it would be NRS 5 and 6. And this bridge really focuses on providing career awareness activities, how to do job preparation, and really just really empowering students to take it upon themselves to look for employment opportunities, how to update your resume, elevator speeches, that sort of material. So that is one of the newest bridges that we have added as well. And the goal of these bridges, as we know, is to transition students into the ICAPS program or career and technical education. So next we have our approved ICAPS programs for the College of Lake County. And so as you can see, we have different bridge programs, different ICAPS programs rather, and we have in the business and hospitality and information technology area, we have certificates in administrative management technology, computer information technology as well. When it comes to legal studies and public safety, we have the private security and loss prevention certificate. We also have many manufacturing, engineering, and advanced technology certificates as well. These are very popular with our students. We have certificates in HVAC, automotive collision repair, and automotive technology. And lastly, we have different certificate options for wellness and health sciences in the areas of certified nurse assisting, phlebotomy, healthcare office assistant, and personal care aide. And personal care aide is a little bit special because it is a model 2 ICAPS. All of our other offerings tend to be model 1. And the entrepreneurship model that we're going to be focusing on today is also model 2. So we are looking to grow in that area as well, but this is kind of what we currently offer for our students in adult ed. And like I mentioned, through the Innovative Bridge and Transition Grant, we were able to expand into offering the Private Security and Loss Prevention Certificate, which is now an approved ICCB ICAPS program for the College of Lake County. And so today we're going to talk a little bit more about how we plan to expand and further that by having an entrepreneurship ICAPS program as well. And now I will turn it over to Dr. Santos George.
Thank you, Yesenia. So just to give you also some information about how well we have been doing with these transition programs, I thought that we'll share some data about enrollment. It's not as spectacular as we want, but I think it's still really good to have, I would say, good outcomes from these programs. So for the bridge, I also included vocational skills training, which is just really a very, very small number of students. But you can see that when we started to introduce bridge programs in 2017, we started with 56 students. And then we were able to have unduplicated headcount to 236 pre-pandemic. And that was like really very encouraging for us to develop, encourage us to develop more bridge programs. But then, of course, unfortunately, COVID hit us, and you can see that we kind of hit like a plateau. So now we have about 200 students in the bridge programs. In the ICAPS, we also started introducing ICAPS in 2018. We started with 30 students. But by 2021, we were able to increase that to 74. We were actually targeting 80 students for 2021, and we were targeting 100 students in 2022. But unfortunately, like I said, COVID hit us. But the projection that we have now, our projections is that Bridge and ICAPS will continually grow in the next 5 years. Next slide, please. And in implementing Bridge and ICAPS, we are proud to say that the core success rates in these programs, it is really spectacular. The average success rate in CLC is 75%, but the success rates in our Bridge and the success rate in our ICAPS far exceeds that for the college. In many of the years. So for example, Bridge, we hit 81%, 84% success rate, and 90% success rate in the years 2018, 2019, and 2021, respectively. And then for ICAPS, this is really wonderful. The success rate, the course completion rates is 90%, 94%, 98% from 2019, 2020, and 2021. Graduation rate as well for the ICAPS is really good. It is between 85 to 90%. So we're very proud to say that we have been really strongly encouraged to continue offering transition programs because of these metrics. And now I give you back to Yesenia.
Thank you. And I will say that part of the success of the ICAPS and Bridge programs is attributed to the services provided through the Adult Education Student Success Team. So the team provides different wraparound services to help students succeed, not only academically, but to also support them in other life areas that also impact their academic success. And so here you can see that there are different services that the team provides, such as completing college, which includes goal setting and coaching. Every semester, we poll students through a survey just to get a feel for what their goals are for the semester. Based off of their feedback, we provide targeted information. If they need specific resources, if they're looking for a job, we look to provide that information specific to that student's need so that we can help them achieve that goal. We can also help with college applications, registering for classes, whether that be within our program or if they need assistance transitioning to the college side, helping them kind of maneuver that process as well. And we also have a job specialist within our team who focuses on providing job placement services and also referrals to other community organizations. So we work very closely with the Job Center of Lake County and the Career and Job Placement Center here at the College of Lake County. So he has very tight connections with them, and we work together to refer different students depending on what their needs are, what their specific job specifications are. And we also do internal referrals to other departments such as the CLC advising, counseling and tutoring centers, also the testing center as well. And a big part of putting students at ease is finding college money, right? So because our ICAPS program only covers the first 2 classes or first 6 credits, this is a really big piece for helping students continue to complete their program. There's a lot of insecurity, and so ensuring that students complete their scholarship applications correctly and just kind of answering any questions that they may have along the way has proven to really help them as well and give them a sense of like security that they're going to be taken care of. And we also do test taking prep, and a big part of what we do too is access to community resources. So any resource that is not offered internally through the College of Lake County, we outsource to different community-based organizations. Like I mentioned, we work very closely with the Job Center of Lake County, and we have integration meetings regularly in which we meet with all of the community partners and just exchange information about services that we can provide to our clients. And so we have like an internal referral system that was just launched recently. And so that has proven to work really well. And so we refer to different agencies who provide childcare, immigration or legal consultations, food pantries, and also the Illinois Department of Human Services, just to name a few. But the list is very extensive, and we're very happy to have those connections with the partners to support our students that way as well. And now I will turn it over to Kelly to talk to you a little bit more about the entrepreneurship program.
Thank you, Yesenia. So yes, I'd like to tell you a little bit about why we focused on entrepreneurship and how the program was really developed. So over the years, we are always soliciting our students' feedback about what they're interested in terms of their career and job goals. We often give them a goal sheet at the beginning of the semester to really sort of understand what they're interested in. And we consistently noticed that students were interested in either starting a business or developing the business they already had. So this would come up repeatedly through the different class levels. And so we would see that many ESL and ABE ASE students already owned businesses, but they didn't necessarily understand how to move forward with it. So what we decided to do is we worked on looking at other programs, bridges that were developed in other parts of the country that have been successful. We looked at programs in Minnesota, in California, and Massachusetts to see what successes they had, what challenges they had faced. And then we had the opportunity to collaborate with WPDI, which is CLC's Workforce Professional Development Institute, develop this pilot program. And it was developed through the Innovation Bridge and Transition Program grant. So it is an ICAPS Model 2. Next slide, please. So the pilot development was for the Bridge and the ICAPS class, and as we affectionately call it in our program, the Entrepreneurship Boot Camp. And the goal was really to be able to provide entrepreneurship training in a really short period of time. So that was in the compact time of 1 semester. And we thought this was best because students are often taking other classes and have many other commitments. So they were able to commit to the full program. And although there weren't necessarily academic requirements, they did have to be able to qualify for the Bridge program. And this was just to ensure their success in the program, that they would be able to complete it. The pilot program consisted of the Bridge and the ICAPS, and it was with a cohort of students. So it was a sense of community as they went through the classes. Next slide, please. So when we developed the pilot, it was truly a joint effort between ESL and the ABE ASE instructors. as well as a WPDI instructor. So we would meet regularly as it was being developed to talk about it from different angles and figure out what the students would need. As we worked on it, we were sure to align it with college and career readiness standards for adult education, as well as the Illinois essential employability skills. And we also considered, as we were developing it, that there was embedded support for our English language learners who were, we assume would be a big members of the cohort. And we also knew there would be coaching support from our student success team to make sure that students receive that support. They would talk to the student success team regularly, and they would work with them if they were having any sort of issues or challenges as they went through the program. So just to explain a little bit about how we did develop it, the ICAPS content and support was based on an online course that was provided from Ed2Go. And what we sort of did in the end was we reverse engineered the entire program, in that we looked at what was going to be taught in that course and the support that would be needed, and then the bridge content was developed in turn so that students would hear certain vocabulary and concepts throughout the process, and each time it would go deeper. So the curriculum was developed over the summer of 2020, and then the classes were rolled out in the spring of 2021. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about the content that was found in the Bridge and the ICAPS. So the curricula encompassed a wide range of materials, but as I said before, they spiraled in that students were exposed to the same vocabulary and the concepts in the Bridge, and then more in depth in the ICAPS class. So they looked at things like the key characteristics of successful entrepreneurs, and they worked quite a bit on goal setting for small business owners. In addition to that, they also looked at the components of business ownership, and they learned about what a unique selling proposition was, and then they developed their own USP. They also studied how to conduct market research and create a basic business plan that would be able to move their business forward. They looked at different types of business structures that they could potentially have, and how to market and publicize their business in the local community. They certainly touched on math concepts with bookkeeping basics, and they learned about HR and employee management that's specific for small business owners. Finally, they also had elevator pitches that they developed to be able to talk to others about their small business. And all along the support class, what it did was it provided reinforcement for that material with vocabulary, concepts, and of course, assessment preparation so that the students could be. Additionally, during the ICAPS course, another wonderful aspect was that students received insight from real entrepreneurs in Lake County. They were they would hear about their story, business, logistics, how to navigate tax rules and regulations, research tools, managing the employees, and what I have heard that was the most valuable experience out of the experience is just receiving those words of advice and encouragement that they could do this, that it was possible. So that was an integral part to the experience as well. So I'm going to turn it back over to Yesenia to discuss the timeline and implementation.
Thank you, Kelly. So here is just an overview of how we implemented the program. So we really rolled out the program in spring 2021. And during those first 8 weeks, we focused on offering the Entrepreneurship Bridge. During the second 8 weeks, we offered the boot camp, if you will, with that IET support class. And so it was a very condensed program, but I also think the students liked the idea of completing within one semester. In the summer, we did have some extra funds from the program, so we were able to leverage those to further offer additional training credits through Workforce and Professional Development Institute. What those additional training credits were, the students had the option to select different workshops that they could attend if they needed to further develop their skills, let's say maybe in Excel or Microsoft. They had different options to select from based on their specific learning needs. And they also received access to microlearning 365-day access, which was kind of like an online resource tool for students to reference if they had any questions or any, like, I know that they had different tutorials available for students to, if they got stuck, let's say on a specific task, maybe an Excel formula, anything like that, to really just help them kind of push through. And lastly, we did have a celebration in the summer for the students. And not all of them were able to be there, but most of them were, and we were able to just celebrate their successes in completing the program. We actually invited all of our ICAPS completers. And so it was a really nice and rewarding moment as well. And here is also another visual of how the program was laid out. And so as you can see, a lot of the students, well, the students who were in adult education, most of them were in ESL. And then there were some ABE-ASC students as well, but our goal was to transition them into the bridge, which was again, those first 8 weeks and the boot camp in the second 8 weeks. And like Kelly mentioned, we didn't really require students to have any academic requirements. They just needed to make sure they qualified for the bridge. If we saw that they were in good standing with the bridge, we were able to transition them into that second phase. And for the summer was when it was a little bit more, at the student's pace. That's when we had those additional training credits and the micro learning. And then lastly, our final step was to obviously have them receive their training certificate, but transition them to the Small Business Development Center just so that they could continue to work on their business and further grow that way as well. And as with any ICAPS program, the end goal is employment, right? But I think for entrepreneurship, it's a little bit different because the goal is to be your own boss. So there's different ways that we can measure success that way. And I can talk a little bit more about what that looks like later on. And so part of the outcomes that we had great student interest for this program, despite, being in the times of COVID. We were able to recruit 18 students into the bridge, and the recruitment really happened very fast. We did have students complete an ICAPS application and go through the interview. So just like any other ICAPS program that we have at CLC, and even then we were still able to get 18 students into the program, which is amazing. We had an excellent completion rate, and we also received a lot of positive student feedback about the program. I know Kelly had some of these students in her class, and they would constantly talk about what they were learning in the entrepreneurship class and just providing feedback as well. So it was also very empowering for the students, I think, to know that it was possible for them to be entrepreneurs. I think a lot of the times there's a lot of uncertainty when owning your own business, but to feel more equipped and more prepared was really empowering for our students. And also being in the program, learning English, getting their GED, that's also empowering as well. So that's one of the main goals that we had for the program here too. And just to give you a snapshot of the enrollment data, so like I mentioned that we had a really great enrollment that first time that we had the pilot. So that spring 2021 semester, we had 18 bridge students, and then 17 of those students continued on to the ICAPS pilot piece. And the only reason why we didn't have all the 18 students continue on was because one of the students was also dually enrolled in another ICAPS program. She was doing the healthcare office assistant program. And so obviously we wanted her to finish that program as well. And she felt like she needed to manage her time. So we certainly are very happy that we had the 17 students transition for a completion rate of 94%, which is awesome. And then in the fall 2021 and spring 22 semester, we had 5 and 6 students respectively. And we didn't have any ICAPS because we don't have an ICCB approved ICAPS yet, but that is one of our goals. So the goal for when we do offer the Entrepreneurship ICAPS program is to transition these students from fall 2021 and spring 2022 into that model 2 ICAPS. And so where are they now, right? I know that the end goal for the entrepreneurship program is really to be self-sufficient, be your own boss. So I will just share some student success stories from the program. One of the students, her name is Bagwadi, and she had her candle business prior to joining the program. And through the knowledge that she acquired through the program as well, she managed to expand her Instagram following to 24,000. And she created her own website. She does her own marketing, does her own photography as well. So I put her link here for her website. It looks really, really neat. And her Instagram is also really aesthetically pleasing as well. And so her next goal is to expand into wholesale markets. We also have Stephanie. Stephanie decided to enroll in the AMT ICAPS program, which is Administrative Management Technology. And so she wants to continue to further her administration skills. She's not exactly sure what type of business she wants to own in the future, but she's looking to further prepare. And Natalie, she aspires to work in the early childhood education field and is currently working on her English skills within our program to help her continue that. And her goal is to maybe have her own daycare center, childcare center as well in the future. And so she continues to prepare for that goal. Next, we have Brian. Brian is really, really creative and a very nice gentleman. He actually sells magic tricks to other magicians. So a magician will contact Brian and say, hey, Brian, I'm looking for a trick that encompasses XYZ. Do you have any ideas? And so Brian brainstorms ideas to craft tricks together, and he sells those magic tricks. And similarly to Bagwadi, he has also been able to increase his Instagram following to nearly 10,000 followers. So very cool. And then lastly, we have Freddie. Freddie is currently in the HVAC ICAPS program. So his goal is to maybe have his own HVAC business later in the future. And he will be completing the HVAC certificates in summer of 2022. So very, very soon. And again, we're all very proud of all of our students, and we recognize that they have very different goals, but we're happy that the program has helped empower them to either continue their education or expand their business. So again, I think it's a very good program for students to believe in themselves and also just continue to further develop themselves and their skills. And now I will turn it over to Dr. Santos George to talk about next steps.
All right, so I am hopeful that all of the things that we have shared in the last half hour is going to be useful for you. You're probably wondering, well, why is it that we don't have an ICAPS at this point? Well, we are actually at this stage preparing for an ICAPS application to have Entrepreneurship Model 2. And we are in talks with our WPDI folks to think about exactly what type of model are we going to use, and in terms of the online version, is it still going to be based on Ed2Go and things like that. So it is really a very time-consuming but worthwhile effort to engage with your academic and your non-academic areas to develop an ICAPS program. So there are various ways that we can do this, either through contract with another person who's going to teach the class, and that is a WPDI. They're the ones who's going to think about that, or other ways that we can offer an ICAPS simply by relying also on our own resources in adult education. So there's just different ways that we can offer ICAPS so that our students can continue to continue from their bridge in entrepreneurship. So that's one way of expanding or continuing the bridge program into ICAPS Model 2, but we're also thinking of developing an ICAPS Model 1 through our Entrepreneurship and Small Business Management Certificate Program currently offered by the Business and Social Sciences Division. However, the main challenge there is how to actually develop small certificate programs that are stackable, hopefully maybe about 17 credit hours, so that our students can have a certificate in small business management. So that is to be our goal for the next year. So stay tuned. And that concludes our presentation. And I believe we are now in the question stage, and we would like to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, Yesenia, and thank you, Kelly, for co-presenting with me. And let's see what the questions are.